Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It's Friday. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson, and James Kelly.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Evening, gentlemen. So, a couple of good results there. Good result over Wycombe at the weekend. What was your view on that?
Wycombe's always going to be a slippery one for us because I've been there time after time and we've lost. So we played with a bit more confidence, passed the ball around. They did cause us a few problems. I mean, Bart had his little mishap. But overall, yeah, it was a good, well-worked result.
Welcome, Ted. As Dave just said, Bart made a bit of a howl at the weekend, but he certainly made up for it on Tuesday night, didn't he?
Yeah, evening, Gary. Yeah, listen, that is Bart, isn't it? Not that he makes them mistakes very often. I think he did make one last season, but nice to see he gets it out of the way nice and early in the season. But when you need him, when you desperately need Bart, if you like, he comes up with these saves that are just out of this world. I mean, not only did he get his hand to that one Tuesday night, but he made sure that he pushed it out of danger, which was absolutely exceptional considering he hadn't had a lot to do on Tuesday night. But listen, Bart will be close to being player of the season come the end of the season again. I don't doubt that.
You sure will. And welcome, James. As we've just discussed, it was a great result on Tuesday, but I thought we should have had a few more. What do you think?
Yeah, evening, guys. A brilliant performance on Tuesday night. I don't know why for some reason Conor Mahoney seems to turn into prime Neymar when we play Luton. Very good result. And yeah, I do agree. We could have had a few more goals. On another day, we would have probably put another 2 or 3 past them. But that was just a very complete performance on Tuesday night.
Tonight we welcome Aberdeen-born former Lion. He began his career as an 18-year-old with his hometown club, Durrenville, winning the Bells Cup with them before moving on to Keith. He later went on to marry Durrenville later in his career. He then moved south to play for Colchester after 3 years with them. And after a couple of loan spells with Birmingham, Wrexham and Plymouth, he arrived with the Lions for a fee of $25,000, where he played 96 games with 32 goals scored. He gained promotion with the Lions to the second division, a feat he repeated twice more after leaving the Lions. Tonight we welcome Kevin Bremner.
Now you've got that a little bit wrong. I was born in Banff, which is the hometown of Devon Vale. You got the Devon Vale bit right, but the Aberdeen bit was wrong. I support Aberdeen.
Well, you can blame Wikipedia for that, so I apologise, okay. Kevin.
No worries.
I apologise. So, Kevin, welcome aboard. Before I pass you over to the guys to interrogate you, how did the move to the Lions come about?
The move to the Lions?
Yeah.
John Hazel knew George Graham quite well. I think they were involved financially somewhere or another. Not a dodgy dealing like George got caught for, but I think John Hazel used to look after some of George's finances. And he was an independent financier in Colchester, and he knew me, and he helped out one of the other players. And between John Hazel and George Graham, that's where the connection came. But George came and watched me play against Plymouth at Orient, because I was actually on loan at Plymouth when George come and watched me in the February before he signed me.
Yeah, it literally was as simple as that. And George liked what he saw, and you came.
Good evening, Kevin. It's Dave
Good
here.
evening, Dave.
The 1982-83 season was there was a lot of controversy going on behind the scenes at Millwall. But tell me what your memories are of that season and our great escape.
Oh, gee, how can you ever explain something like that? I mean, George got all the team together. I mean, it's a great story. George had a meeting with the players when he first took over at Christmas time, told the players, right, you've got 6 weeks, play the way I want you to play, or I'll take in players that will play the way I want to play. So we gave him the 6 weeks. Lo and behold, he takes me in on I think it's the 12th or 13th of February, something like that. So they gave him 6 weeks and he started off Stevie Lovell on a free. He was on loan from Crystal Palace for a start, wasn't he? So that was one. Peter Wells was number 2, the goalkeeper. David Stride had just come back from America, came in as well, so that was 3. I came in, which was 4. Dean came in, which was 5. Zach and Anton Otlakowski, 7. Ian Stewart came in from QPR, that's 8. Dean White from Gillingham. That was it. George had got his 9 new players in. We went away to Bisham Abbey, played the way George wanted to play, came back all guns blazing, took the 3rd division by storm.
Oh, Kev, it's Ted here. You're talking about George there, George Graham, and obviously he had his partner in crime, Theo Foley. Yeah. How did they bounce off of one another? How did they work? And what was they like to actually play for?
I was good cop, bad cop. Theo was a good cop.
Yeah, I don't think Theo could be anything else, really, could he?
No. He was a funny man.
Yeah.
He's your man, Bremner.
But they obviously worked together.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they didn't quite get on as well together when they went to Arsenal together, but certainly at Millwall, they worked wonders. Absolute wonders they did.
So was George he's always sounded as if he was a bit of a disciplinarian with the team in a sense. He had his ideas of how they should play, and it was George's way or no way.
That's correct. That's quite correct. That's quite a few players found out.
Yeah, but you obviously was one of his boys, Kev.
Oh, well, I was all right for 2.5 years. and then after giving blood, sweat and tears for 2 and a bit seasons, he offered me £25 a week rise. No signing on fee, nothing. 25 quid a week for running through brick walls and bouncing off centre halves and scoring 1 and 3. So greedy Scotch git.
Yeah. I thought that was quite generous for a Scotsman, Kev, to be quite honest.
No, George offered me that even when I was on my way to sign for Reading. It was before mobile phones. I phoned Theo from the station and said, get George to change his mind. And he didn't.
He didn't, no.
No, I don't know. I don't even know if Theo even phoned him. But that was before mobile phones. It was from a public phone in Paddington Station.
Do you look at today's football, Kevin? I mean, obviously the riches are so much more to when you was playing. And I mean, I remember your sort of style of playing. I think you'd have been suited a bit more to today's type of games, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to take that one.
Well, no, I mean, listen, you was, in my opinion, you was an all-round forward, and you didn't mind a tackle, you didn't mind scoring, you didn't mind getting involved. But today, really, I think it's a bit more sort of lenient out on the pitch. Is probably a nice way of putting it. But I think you would have thrived in that.
Maybe I would have, but
well, you'd have thrived for the money anyway, wouldn't you?
Oh, you say that. I don't know who published the Reading wages, but they're getting more a week than I got in a lifetime. It's absolutely ridiculous what they're getting there.
Evening, Kevin.
Yeah.
So we discussed what it was like working with George Graham, but before the show, we discussed what the old Den was like. What were your memories of playing there?
How can you ever explain an atmosphere like that? Yeah. I mean, you see, my first game, there was 2,300 people there. We beat Exeter 5-2, I think it was, 5-2. Dean Neal scored a hat-trick. George said after he says 5-2. He says Bremner didn't score. He says, but the guy just loves playing football. You don't have to motivate Kevin. He's there ready. If he gets a shot, he's absolutely delighted. And he says, and the fans took to him straight away. with his all-action style. What else can you say?
Yeah, I mean, the old Den was before my time, but with what you've described, I'm sure promotion at the end of the 1984-85 season was up there.
Oh yeah, I mean no, but even we my first game, there was 2,300 people there.
Yeah.
When they got a performance, they reacted. I'll tell you that now. There was only 2,300, but you'd have thought there was 10,000 people there, because they seen something on the pitch, they liked what they saw, and they appreciated. If you run about for 90 minutes, you don't have to kick the ball, but if you run about for 90 minutes, they'll absolutely love you.
I was going to say, Kev, you get a reaction as well if you didn't put a performance in.
Oh, yeah.
They do now as well, don't they?
Thankfully, I didn't have any of them at Millwall.
Let's talk about the FA Cup run when we played Chelsea along the way. Kev, we're getting
I came back from injury. I broke my collarbone. I was actually on the bench for the Leicester game, but I was still injured for a Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Kevin, was that the David Speedy game? Am I right in saying?
Yeah, David Speedy scored for Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Fortunately, I was watching it in the stand. I came on as sub at Luton.
Oh, it was you that started it all.
Me, it started off.
Was you coming on legally or illegally, Kev?
I came on as sub. I got warmed up on the pitch because all the fans were on the touchline. It was like a Sunday league game. Everybody was round the pitch. The linesman was on the pitch running the line. He must have been frightened to death. I was next to him warming up.
I mean, that obviously was a night and a half. Yeah, but how disappointed was the boys at the end result of that game? Because
absolutely gutted we were. Absolutely gutted. I mean, I'm not being nasty, but Millwall's home crowd at the time was just over 6,000, because I've looked back and researched it as well. Just over 6,000, and there must have been 10,000 people trying to get into an end that could only hold about 7,000. And I blame Luton for not making it all ticket, because every Tom, Dick and Harry came up from London just looking for a row.
That's true.
You know yourselves how many people was at the Den. It certainly was that amount of people.
Don't know how much Kev's seen of the current Millwall team, but I mean, I've been quite...
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, well, it's quite exciting, Kev. You need to get a look at them.
Yeah.
Gary Rowett's come in and done a fantastic job.
All right, they had some good results, to be fair.
It's got a side together. I mean, one of the things I've always said, Kevin, your team in particular, thrived with it. There has to be a team spirit, a togetherness with a Millwall team that the fans can see, if you know what I mean, out on the pitch, because that's how we feel standing in the crowd. Would you agree with that? I mean, your side was the epitome of that. You had such a togetherness to go on that run that you did and whatever, and what you achieved under George Graham. But again, it comes back to George. Was that part of his team building, making sure that you was all playing as one, for want of a better way of putting it?
Especially after an away game, we all used to, in the Great Escape, we used to go into... I can remember a pub in the season we went up, because that was a Crown and Anchor. After away matches, we'd go in there and have a couple of drinks and then go home. But we would most of us would go in there, have a shandy, and a good chat and a good laugh. Crown and Anchor was promotion season. The George on the right-hand side as you go up Shooters Hill?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The George, that's it. I got it. Thank Christ for that. I was in there often enough. I should bloody know the place. But that was the togetherness that we had in the George, having a drink. Not everybody had a drink, but most of us went in there occasionally and had celebrated a drink after a game. But that was the away matches. The home matches we was in the players' bar anyway. But if you look at the team that got into the first division, they were of the same calibre, not as players, but they went in for a drink as well. They had more than one hostelry they attended.
Yeah, it was a done thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was like in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Went for a drink after a game.
Yeah.
And I
Kevin, what do you think about the current differences being applied in football? You know, some teams can have socially distanced fans, but the professional game and the national leagues can't have supporters in. What do you think about that?
Really, really hard. I mean, you say, how can you have one rule for one and another rule for another? If there's no fans in the main football, there should be no fans in any of the football. It's not right that somebody can have fans in and others can't. Because I mean, you say, I'm sure they could get socially distanced in the terraces. If they don't socially distance in the terraces, then they get chucked out and they don't get back in again. But it's not fair that some clubs can get fans in and other clubs can't.
Yeah, it's a big impact on some of the smaller clubs.
Kevin, just from one from me, you said you've seen a couple of the Lions' results so far this season. Going on that, how do you think this year is going to pan out for Millwall?
Well, they keep going the way they're going. They've got a hell of a good chance, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, currently fifth in the league, off the back of two wins. So, I completely agree, yeah.
As they always say, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
A marathon, not a sprint, indeed, yeah. And obviously with this season not having fans, it's going to be a very, very strange one.
Very long marathon.
Yeah, exactly that.
Indeed. I mean, see, I would find it strange playing in front of nobody. It does make a difference. In the Den had one of the best atmospheres I've ever played in. Absolutely loved playing down at the Den because the atmosphere, they appreciated a trier, and I was a trier. Theo always used to say that. He said, your man Bremner, he said, I like you because you try hard.
Yeah.
And Millwall appreciate stuff like that, don't they? And obviously,
I mean, say what I like. One of the times I did come back from injury, we played Bournemouth in a freight rover, or played Bournemouth at the Den on a Tuesday night, probably. And I had just come back from injury, and George was going to put me on for the last 20 minutes. 20 minutes come in, on I go, did my usual, chased the left back down, went into him, yes, he passed it to the centre half, chased him, yes, and this is the crowd going, yes, not me. And then he passed it to the other centre half, chased him down, yes, gave it to the left back, chased him down, yes, passed it back to the keeper, wallop, straight into the keeper, yes. I absolutely loved it.
Then you got sent off.
The referee, no, I didn't get sent off. The referee pulled me aside. He says, Kevin, he says, pretend I'm giving you a telling off. Don't let the crowd wind you up.
Brilliant.
I must admit, we was easily pleased in them days, Kev.
We are now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Kevin, to speak with you. And you brought back a lot of memories from my first few seasons as a young lad supporting Millwall. You mentioned
you must have been, because I'm 63 now.
Yeah, I'm 44. So I started going down there in 1980. So they were the first real few seasons I remember. And you mentioned a player there, Anton Nutelakowski, who I adored when I was a child. So it was nice to hear some stories about you playing with him at that time. It was great.
No worries.
But before I let you go, we've got Barnsley at the weekend, a typical banana skim game for Millwall. But what do you think?
It's like anything else. How long's a piece of string? At the moment, nobody knows who's going to beat who at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only a couple of games in, so it's anybody's game.
Indeed. Well, thanks, Kevin. Indeed.
No worries.
Well, thanks, Kevin, and all the best, and thank you for tonight.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
Kev.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cheers, thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
We'll take the break there and listen to Scott Johnson talking about the Proper Blokes Club.
Hello, I'm Scott and I founded the Proper Blokes Club. What is that I hear you say? Well, it's for men who have experienced or going through a tough time and fancy going for a walk and a talk. Or it could be you just want to get back on top of your game, maybe feeling lonely, or you could even be new to the area and just want to get out for a walk and a talk. This could be for you. So if you'd like to join us, we run sessions every Thursday, Sunday, starting at HMS Belfast, walking along the Thames up towards Surrey Quays. Thursday start time is 6 o'clock and Sunday start time is 6:30. If you guys are on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, find the Proper Blokes Club, give it a like, give it a follow, tag and share with your friends, or if you'd like to do it the old-fashioned way, you can call Scott on 07397 501110. That's 07397 501110, and we can make arrangements for you to come along. So I look forward to seeing you joining us soon at the Proper Blokes Club.
Welcome back, and we are here with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave, Ted and James. Next up, we hear from the Millwall Romans. It's Tom Baker. He's a thespian, but not Doctor Who. Tom is talking with Romans captain Jake following the game against Soho.
So it's not every day that you win 26-0. Obviously, a rather unbelievable result. How was it? What was the game like?
Yeah, it was obviously an incredible result. Freak result, probably a Romans record. I don't think I've ever been a part of 26-0 before. Yeah, I think it's one of those games where you just kind of focus on the performance and trying not to sort of let the game or playing the right way run away from you. And I think we were really clinical today, as the scoreline shows. But I think in patches we could improve, particularly in terms of complacency and playing our football. But I think, you can't complain with 26-0. I think they're incredibly ruthless, and the opposition wasn't the best, but they're a new side and they'll improve. And I think we could be pretty much happy with not just the scoreline, but with how he played.
So that's 3 wins in 3 to start the season, and I've definitely lost count of how many goals that is now after today's result. Do you think training and playing under the Millwall umbrella has helped the team to this excellent start?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been massively beneficial, not just with the facilities, but kind of just the energy that it's provided the club with. We've had a lot of players who played for the club for a number of years, but it's kind of given them a massive boost to kind of start a new chapter and be part of a different kind of history for the club. And yeah, the club's Millwall's been amazing in terms of facilities, but again, it's kind of given us a platform to be able to improve as a club, improve as players, improve as a team, particularly on pitches like that where you have got the luxury of being a bit expansive and creative. It's given us this great opportunity, and fair play to the squad at the moment. We're taking that opportunity and we're performing well and adjusting incredibly well as well. And results and scorelines like sort of this weekend have kind of proved and showed just where we are on our journey. And we've still got a long way to go in terms of how much more consistent we want to play, but yeah, 3 wins out of 3, you can't really complain too much.
So in every interview I've done so far, we've commented on how the pitch has helped us and how the training has helped our style of football, and we've had 3 home games so far, so that's why it's played a big factor. However, we're away for the first time next week. What are the next few games looking like, and how do you think we're going to be able to take that football onto the different pitches? Yeah,
it'll be a huge test for us. We're away to Titans, which isn't it's not just a grass pitch, but it's never usually the best conditioned pitch, and at the best of times probably a good thing we're getting it out of the way now while the pitch is probably at its peak. But yeah, I think it's going to be a real adjustment for us. I think we will probably have to start the game a little bit more tentatively and potentially play a little bit more direct in areas, but I still don't want to kind of veer away too far from kind of how we want to play for the rest of the season, whether it's on grass or
first time on grass since February, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it'll be a huge challenge, and I think it'll be a massive adjustment. And I think we've got players who suit both sort of turfs, and if we have to kind of knuckle down and scrap, even though we're playing great football, I think we've been winning our battles all over the park for about a season and a half now, and I'm confident that even if we're not playing particularly well, our kind of grit and determination and sort of our will to win will hopefully get us through. But yeah, like I said, ideally we don't want to kind of revert back to long ball, which is obviously what opponents want us to do. But if we can potentially get our foothold in the game, potentially by going a little bit more direct than we'd like originally, hopefully that'll give us a little bit more leeway to kind of settle into our football and play kind of how we want to play for the rest of the season, whether we're on grass or whether we're on turf.
And lastly, Millwall versus Barnsley. Is that the Den? What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, Millwall in good form at the moment. Obviously beat Luton 2-0 in the week, so I think they could be quite confident in the playoff positions at the moment. So good run of form, and I think this is a big game to kind of really stake the claim for promotion. I think they'll win. I think it might potentially be tight, so I'll go with a 2-1 win to Millwall.
Great.
Wow. Great to hear from the guys there. What a result that was. And I believe actually Jay's got 8 goals in that game as well. Following on, we turn to the Lionesses, who played at St Paul's on Sunday afternoon. So let's hear from them.
So here with Molly Hawkins at training after match day yesterday, a 1-1 draw against a strong East Bergholt side. You've been out with injury yourself. You made your comeback yesterday. How does it feel?
It felt really good, to be honest. Being out on the pitch, being with the whole team again, it just feels back to normality, really. And obviously being out of injury, it has made me a bit down, not being able to play. But being back on the pitch and doing everything that I love on the pitch, shooting, scoring, loved it. I'd love to be back.
And obviously yesterday was a 1-1 draw, putting an end to our losing streak, if you will. What was your take on the game itself?
Me personally, I think the girls made an outstanding performance. The atmosphere on the pitch, the communication, just the whole game was just perfect, to be honest, in my eyes. I saw the girls took their chances with tackles, with their opportunities they took. Yeah, we didn't get in the back of the net, but we move on, and hopefully we'll get it this weekend.
And club captain Libby Stubbs was taken off as a substitute late in the game, and the armband was passed on to yourself. Your childhood club. How does it feel to captain your childhood club?
Overwhelming, really. I mean, like you said, I'm a Millwall fan, and to actually being given the captain band meant a lot. Like, it was honestly emotional on the pitch. I did want to cry because it meant so much to me, being a Millwall fan and getting a badge.
So that was Molly Hawkins there, talking about the 1-1 draw at the weekend. Dave, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think it was the sort of result that we've come to expect, because last season the Lionesses really hit the ground running and were just winning game after game, steamrolling everybody. And players have left over the close of the seasons, and people have been replaced, and they found it a bit difficult to get into a rhythm. But 1-1 was a result that I would take and look forward to things just getting better.
Do you agree, Ted?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's a massive result for the girls on Sunday, because one thing, when you've got a young team like the Lionesses are, you need to have that confidence, and confidence comes through winning and putting performances. When you're losing games, you need something to happen that change the mindset, because you go out on a pitch thinking, no matter what I do today, it's going to go wrong. So you try hard to change that, but you see it even in men's football, your heads start to go down. But you got to stick with the girls and stick with it. They've got a young manager, they're a young team. The more they get knuckled down and go at it, the more their results will change for them. And like Dave said, I think there are good players here. They're a good side. It's just that little bit more belief in themselves. Perhaps a little bit more luck with injuries as well, because Libby's only just come back herself. So, a little bit of stability in the sense of a few games with the same players playing, together. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll come back to the form they were showing last year, and I think they go from strength to strength.
And James?
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, getting a 1-1 draw, 1 point's better than none. It will definitely breed confidence, especially as it is a young side. We can only get better. Just need to go again next week.
Indeed. We're not sure of the fixture this weekend for the Lionesses, so keep checking your social media for more details, and it will be available on there as soon as it's announced. So, next up, we welcome a young man as the fan in the dugout to our virtual studio. He has been here before, but he's hoping to join us in a real studio in the not-too-distant future. Nearly as famous as his mum, Jackie, and not as good-looking as his granddad, or as good on the ivories either, or as famous, but remembered for singing Millwall songs in an Indian restaurant with his friends and the staff. It is the one and only Sam Gardner. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Sam.
Evening, Sam.
How is everyone? All right?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Yeah, very well.
Good.
So you missed the Love Sports studios, Sam. The studios are quite small, but it was. What was it that you liked about that?
When you're with everyone in person, you can tend to feed off everyone's reaction, and it's just a little bit more involved, if you like. But we're making the best of it, it seems. It's been a good show tonight.
I was going to say, we've had a really good start this season. What do you think about it?
Yeah, look, I've said it before. Amongst my group of friends that follow us here, there and everywhere, I'm Mr. Optimist. And even after the first couple of games where clearly we were sharp in defence like we always are, but it was frustrating in the final third. But I was saying to my pals, it's when you're not playing well, like any pundit would say, but you're still picking up points. Games that many times over the years we would have lost to 1-0, and those points clearly can make a big difference at the end of the season. I say keep the faith, lads, because when you're having these frustrating half hours and you're not creating much, we're only going to get better. And we have had players that have improved this season. Of course, we're looking forward to Troy coming along and hopefully hitting the ground running. But now, if anything, him coming into a team when he's fit, that's doing well and up the table, I think can only be a positive for us if you look at it in hindsight. So, I'm really impressed with him. Let's face it, it's been the best start we've had in God knows how long.
Yeah, I'd say, Sam, like Gary Rowett's acquisitions, I mean, he signs and loan. Obviously, you mentioned Troy Parrott, although we've not really seen him yet. But obviously, Mason Bennett, Scott Malone, Ryan Woods, and now we brought in Kenneth Sahor. I mean, I think you're right in what you're saying about defensive-wise. We're solid. We can see the statistics. We're solid in that. But I think them players that we're mentioning there can only benefit us as a whole. Even the guys that are playing like Smith and that, no, if he doesn't perform now, or Mason Bennett doesn't perform, there's a Bradshaw waiting in the wings, or there's a Bodvarsson waiting in the wings. So that can only make us better, mate.
Yeah, I mean, those players that you just mentioned, I was going to touch on, of course. I don't think anyone has been at their full potential, in all honesty. I think we've got better to come, which is exciting. I think we're seeing glimpses of when he's been able to play 75 minutes of Bennett. Well, since Bennett comes along, it seems that Mahoney has, that's given him a bit more because he knows if he's not performing, there's the competition for places. I think Woods is by far the best ball-playing midfielder we've seen at the Den for quite some time. He just makes everything look easy, which I think we'll all agree sometimes we can get quite frustrated with how we make things a little bit difficult at times. And I love Smith. He's an old-school centre-forward. And I like the fact that we have a big man on the pitch because I never want to see us be a completely possession-based team where it's pass back. I like us getting down the flanks. I like us putting the ball in. Alongside him now with Sahor, it seems that we're always going to have that option of a big man in the middle. And that's how I like to see us play. And, I hate to say I was a big fan of Neil Harris massively, and I was a Harris in fan as well. But it's been clear to see the improvements. And I can't see us this season. I think this could be one of the weaker championships in terms of, I don't think there's going to be anyone running away with it like we've seen with some other seasons with Wolves. So, we saw last season, you go on a run or two, you can be there or thereabouts. And with the start we've had, we tend to have a good run from January through to March. And starting how we've had, and like I mentioned Troy Parrott, and I fancy him. I think everyone's a bit excited about him. And if he's coming into a team like I touched on earlier that is winning, has got confidence, it can only bode well for us, in my opinion.
Evening, Sam.
Hello.
Hi, two questions in one here. Firstly, who's your standout player so far this season? But also, who do you feel needs to up their game a little bit from what you've seen?
In all honesty, the player that frustrated me the most last season is probably my most improved this season in Ryan Leonard. And I think it's slightly the change of his role. He played a lot deeper under Harris. Obviously, we saw him under Rowett last season, but not as much. And he's showing, there was many times this season where I was in my head, or not even in my head, voicing it very loud in East Upper. I didn't want to see him play again. But he's certainly, he's not losing the ball as much. He's getting in those attacking positions and scoring goals. So I think, in my opinion, he's our most improved. I worry a little bit for Bradshaw. I know he works hard. But with touching on Troy coming in again, with Zahor and Smith as well, I struggle. I think he's probably going to be the fourth choice, in my opinion. But again, it's not a bad fourth choice to have, is it? So it puts us. When was the last time we had 4 strikers that we half fancied? I suppose, And I think that's only a positive for us. So
exactly, yeah. I mean, I agree with the point on Ryan Leonard that, like, when Harris first signed him, we used his long throw-ins a lot, and then we stopped using them, and then he didn't really have as much of an influence in the team. But Leonard was one of the players. In fact, I'd say probably the player that I wanted Rowett to give a chance to the most, just to see what he was like. But he's actually proven to pay dividends for that, because he got a banging goal against Wickham on Saturday, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly that. And he always seems to be popping up there. And in all honesty, I think most Millwall fans, maybe even 3 or 4 games ago, would have been crying for Ben Thompson to be playing for what he is to the club, for what he represents for Millwall. But it's hard to actually say. And I was one of those people 3 weeks ago saying, "Oh, come on, let's not let him go to Pompey. It might be the last we see him in a Millwall shirt," because he has improved, in leaps and bounds since he came back from that loan. But he probably doesn't deserve a starting place, in all honesty, right now, with Woods and Leonard. And it's not something I would have said or anticipated. So it's a good dilemma to have.
Yeah, so welcome headache to have, yeah.
Sorry, Joan, I was going to say, the one thing about Ryan Leonard, and I mean, I was listening to 2 of you talk there, and this is the sort of thing that not many people mention. He does the dirty work of the game. Ryan Leonard's the man who breaks the opposition up. He done it on about 3 a while. I can remember probably more than that. The amount of occasions that he'd done it on Tuesday night against Luton, where they looked like they was having to be a break onto us, and Ryan Leonard intercepted that, even just getting his body across the player, taking the ball off him. And when you've got a player like that around Ryan Woods, that allows Ryan Woods for a bit of space as well. I think Leonard's an underrated player for the things that are not spectacular in the game.
Exactly that.
Exactly that. For the goal as well, he actually passed it on to Mahoney to score the goal. He broke it up in the middle. The ball got played through to Loire, who just brushed him aside basically, and won it back and passed it on.
I mean, the bonus from him is the fact that he does, like Sam was saying, he appears in the box, and he's an intelligent box player, if that makes sense. He makes it at times, he runs well, like he did with that wonderful back heel from Mason Bennett that he put wide, but I'll let him off that one. But, I think Ryan Leonard's beginning to show the player that he can be.
Exactly. So, Sam, the $1 million question: How's your mum Jackie and your granddad Ian? How are they getting on?
Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned, because I didn't have a chance to respond to the 2 points you made that are absolutely correct. That my mum's the more popular one, and my granddad is the looker. So I'm glad I got to address that.
I suppose I'll get my teeth in at the beginning bit there.
I suppose I'll be the talker, eh? They're good. My granddad's. He's good. He had a bit of a health scare earlier this year, so the lockdown, for anything, has been quite good for him to have some chill time. My mum's good. She's doing her thing, as she always is. Time's good. Just obviously looking forward to getting back down the den at some stage with them, or with my mum especially. If you don't mind me just saying one thing as well, just slightly, well, not off topic, but it would have been my old man, his 25th, well, it's his 25 years since he passed, and he's the reason me and my mum are obviously Millwall fans, and that's next week. As well as his best friend, who's one of my best friends as well, a lifelong Millwall fan whose mum passed away, unfortunately, recently. So just thoughts of my dad, and my good friend Mark's mum.
Nice point. Well said.
Exactly, yeah.
Well said, Sam. So,
thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
No problem. We'll send them all our love from the show as well. Finally,
appreciate that.
No problem. Finally, before we go, how are we going to get on at the weekend?
Do you know what? As I said, I'm always Mr. Optimist, and I will stick to my guns. It's just Barnsley, isn't it? Barnsley. How many?
You must have read all their minds there, Sam.
Yeah, I knew you'd agree with me on that one. But it was the kind of game that I was nervous about in the week, actually, against Luton, those midweek games that we tend to lose 1-0 or draw 0-0. And we didn't. We've done something that we don't always do and go and win those awkward games. So I'm going to back us for a 3-1 win. And I'm even going to call Cooper, Jed and Smith.
Wow.
Decent.
Whack it on.
Indeed.
Let's all whack it on so we all win together, eh?
Yeah.
Sam, have you been drinking tonight?
Well. That's another question.
I'm making
a return to that. I'm making a return to that curry house actually next Thursday. So maybe we'll have another call, eh? I'm sure they'll remember me.
Tell it's like the good old days we used to put a bet on each week and then see how we got on.
Yeah, I missed the Cooper, but I always used to bet on Cooper because the odds were so long. But over the last couple of seasons, they're really shortened because he tends to. Well, last season not as much, but you don't get the odds on him anymore. So I might have to go down a little bit for that one.
Yeah, Sam.
Right, Lendog, that's the one.
Yeah, good price on him.
I bet you would these days, actually.
Oh, here's one for you, Marlon Romeo. He's due a goal somewhere along the line.
He's due a goal, a little outside the box, just outside the box, bottom corner. Yeah. So who are we having? Does that mean we're having 5 bets then? Are we having 5-0?
Get down the betting office.
Oh, dear. Yeah, stop no more because I won't be able to put them all on come the weekend. I'd have forgotten.
You know none of these will score. You know that as well.
Yeah.
Marlon Romeo's going to hit the top of the CBL on Saturday. You watch now.
Dear. Well, I hope you listen to the show anyway. Right, well, Stan, absolute pleasure again to speak with you.
Thanks as always.
But we're going to play you out with the sounds of Ian Gomes, his world-renowned granddad, who played at the Ritz and for Royalty too. Here he is playing a special tune for Sam on a rare occasion that Sam went and enjoyed high tea at the Ritz, but Sam kept the lid on the vocal first time.
It's not like me.
Well, that was the fantastic Ian Gomes there with Let 'Em Come.
I could hear them all singing to that down the Ritz, couldn't you?
Yeah. Dear. We'll take a break there and listen to the Millwall Lionesses sponsors from Be My Eyes.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with the No One Likes a Talking team of James Kelly, Ted Robinson, and Dave Hart. That Be My Eyes application is impressive. Next up, we look ahead to the home game against Barnsley this Saturday, and then that's followed with a trip to Deepdale and Preston on Wednesday evening. First of all, though, we hear from Eamon, who has been chatting with Doug O'Kane, the sports editor from the Barnsley Chronicle, who gives his view from the opposition.
Caught up with Doug O'Kane, the sports editor at Barnsley Chronicle, to talk about the game coming up this Saturday at the Den against Barnsley. Of course, they had a good 2-2 draw on Wednesday night at Stoke. Welcome, Doug.
Hi.
It's good to hear from you. So that was a good draw at Stoke on Wednesday night.
Yes, it was, yeah. They played well. Could have won it in the end. A little bit disappointed not to get their first victory of the season because they played against 10 men for the final half an hour and they took the lead twice. So it was a good game that probably could have gone either way. But yeah, they'll take the positives from the point and head down to Millwall on Saturday.
And that's 3 draws so far this season, yeah?
Yeah, 3 draws, 3 defeats. It's been a little bit of a disappointing season after the high of staying up at Brentford in the last minute last season. I think people expected to kick on a little bit more, but there's still obviously a very, very long way to go. And the last couple of performances have been encouraging.
Work in progress. So, who are you looking at from the Millwall side to cause you any difficulties on Saturday?
Well, I think Jed Wallace is clearly a very good player for Millwall. He's been good against Barnsley before last season. He played really well, so I think he's one that they'll be doing extra homework against to try and stop him. And from a Barnsley perspective, obviously Tom Bradshaw had a couple of years at Oakwell. I know he's been a bit sort of in and out of the team, but they'll know all about his threat. So I guess those two will be two that Barnsley fans will be a bit worried about.
And who do we need to look out for on Saturday?
Well, the top scorer so far is Corley Woodrow. He got 14 last season in the league. He's already got 3 in all competitions this season. He also played really well last night with some great passing, including an assist for the first goal on Wednesday night. And yeah, he's probably Barnsley's star player. He's a striker, but he can finish, but he can also drop deep and create play as well. So yeah, I would pinpoint him as a star man.
Yeah, that's the man that was in the back of my mind. Is there anybody else there?
Yeah, they've got quite a few different options up front who've been rotating. Connor Chaplin scored quite a lot of goals last season, but he's been a bit not on his top form so far this season, so he's been on the bench. They've got an Austrian striker called Dominik Frieser who started on Wednesday night and scored his first goal for the club. Played really well after a bit of a difficult start. So I'd expect him to start alongside Woodrow again. And then their main man in midfield is Alex Mowat, who's the captain and plays every game. And he's coming into form now after a little bit of a slow start to the season. So he makes them tick in midfield.
So, Doug, what would be your prediction for the match at the Den then?
Well, I'd probably go for a third straight 2-2 draw for Barnsley. I think they look like they're going to score goals at the moment, but they can't seem to quite hang on to a win. So I think that would be my prediction.
Well, that's great, Doug. Thanks ever so much for coming on the show and talking about Barnsley. It's much appreciated. And
no problem. Thanks for having me.
All the best for the season, but perhaps not on Saturday. Okay.
Thanks
you. Now.
Thanks, Eamon, and great to hear the views from Doug O'Kane over there, the sports editor from the Barnsley Chronicle. So, gents, a quick view and prediction for the Barnsley game. Let's start with Ted.
Well, listen, we've all said it, haven't we, Barnsley? I don't know why, but I didn't like listening to Doug there and when Eamon pointing out that they haven't won a game this season. All of a sudden, you get that feeling they're beginning to play well. Is this going to be their first win of the season? But I must say, I was really impressed with us against Luton and the way that we seem to be beginning to get it together. It is a difficult game, as every game is in the Championship. But I've just got the feeling that this year with this squad, with us, these sort of games that we've always feared are actually not going to cause us too much problems. I think it'll be a difficult game. I think it'll be tight, but I do think we're going to edge this one 2-1.
Excellent. Dave?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Ted said. It's definitely going to be a tight game. And with them not winning at home yet, I think it's going to be a very nervous 1-0 to Millwall.
Okay, and then over to you, James.
Yeah, I mean, Barnsley being a massive bogey team for us, and then obviously them not winning a game this season, it's like the pessimism in you just says that they're gonna get a win. But no, I'm gonna back the boys after two very, very good wins against Wickham and against Luton. Hopefully we can keep that momentum going, and I'm gonna say 2-0 to Mill. Another 2-0 win.
I'll tell you what, Gary, we're beginning to sound a bit like Charlton do when they play us. You know what I mean, with Barnsley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God. We've gone that far, have we?
Well, not quite as bad as them. I'm sure they do a lot worse, but yeah.
Dear. All right, then, let's move on to next Wednesday. We are playing Preston, who've also made a bit of a slow start to the season. How do you think our trip to Lancashire will go? Start with Ted again.
Well, in years gone by, you'd have said it's odds on that Mill will probably lose at home to Barnsley and go to Preston and win. But Preston are a good side. They're just beginning to play a bit. They won 2-0 the other night at QPR, didn't they? And they're a side I expect to be sort of up there, thereabouts. And I know we've been talking about Barnsley, but I don't think we do particularly well against Preston. But I'm going to back the boys, but I'm going to be a bit more... I think we're going to go up there and get a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1, a tight, close game. I think he'll go back and bring Alex Pearce in for that game, and that'll tighten us up. But, yeah, I see that being a 1-1 draw, Preston.
Fair enough. Dave?
Yeah, it's one of those places. I've been there quite a few times, and the wins are short, hard to come by. So, again, I'm going to go with a very squeaky bum 1-0.
Fair enough. And then last but not least, James.
Yeah, I mean, Preston are getting a bit of momentum now, obviously winning against QPR midweek. Obviously doing the double against them last season, 1-0 at home, 1-0 away. I'm not as confident against Preston as I would be against Barnsley. My heart says we're going to edge a 1-0 win, which I'd happily take, but my head's saying 1-1.
Fair enough.
Look after your bum, Dave.
I will.
I'm going to chuck my predictions in now. I think we're going to beat Barnsley 2-0, and then I'll go with a 1-1, like Ted said, I think, up there as well. But I do agree, it is the type of results where we'd probably lose to Barnsley and then beat Preston. But I'm going to, as we're saying, the team's a bit better this year. They're more confidence in the side. They are playing with more gusto, I think is the right word.
Got to just go on a little bit about the other night. I thought at times there was some of the best football we've played for a long time. I was so impressed with the way we started to knock it around. And we've only briefly mentioned Conor Mahoney, who was obviously everyone's man of the match, I think, with Bennett a close second. But if we can keep that boy playing like that with Jed on the other side and... Mason Bennett that certainly knows how to hold the ball up and get you up the other end of the pitch. We're beginning to look like a proper championship challenging team.
Ted, and what were we doing back heeling balls in the back of in the box as well? What's that?
Well, I thought he fell over it, to be quite honest, at the time. I thought, what's he having there? He's trying to bring the ball out to have a shot, and it went the other way. But no, I tell you, we always, talking of Mason Bennett, Gary, we was all a little bit unsure about the boy, saying, is he injury prone and what? Listen, when this boy's fit, if we can keep him fit, he's going to be such a thorn in team sides, because he seems to be a real awkward player to play against. He's got a little bit of talent in there, but he's a difficult player to knock off the ball. He wins your free kicks everywhere, and like I say, he gets you up the pitch. I think hopefully, if he carries on the way he's going, he's going to prove Gary Rowett made the right decision in buying him and getting him in.
Yeah, I also think he looks like he's lost a bit of timber as well. So he looks like
he looks fitter. He looks fitter.
Yeah.
But we when he came to us, Gary, he hadn't played a lot of football.
No.
You know, and we squeezed quite a bit out of him at the end of the season. Maybe that we squeezed a bit hard. So hopefully, we're going to see a good run from Mason Bennett, because he's certainly an asset to the side.
Sure is.
Just to add on to that Luton game, I don't think Bart had much to do in the whole game. He could have gone and read a newspaper.
Well, thankfully he didn't have to kick the ball too much.
And when he was called on to make a save, which he did do, it was spot on. So, things are looking up. I mean, if we win on Saturday, we'll have 14 points. And last season, we played 11 games to get 14 points.
Wow.
So, there you go.
Good stats, Dave. Good stats.
Indeed. Right, we'll take a break there and listen to the charitable tones of Patricia Maslin.
Hi, Patricia Maslin here. The Millwall Community Trust needs volunteer help. Whether you're an organisation with bodies able to assist, or an individual, the Trust needs you during the current conditions to support the vulnerable and needy. If you can help make a difference, or need help, please contact Sean Daly, the Trust's Chief Executive Officer, by phone on 07 958 027060. Once again, that's 07 958 027060. Or contact by email sdaly, I'll spell that, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. I'll repeat that, sdaly, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you can, or you know someone or any organisation who might be able to help, please let the Community Trust know. Thank you.
Sorry, Gary, you got to change that intro. We can't have charitable tones. I'm not having that. The charitable tones of Patricia Maslin. Oh dear.
That was our dear Eamon's scripting that bit.
Yeah, I can think of plenty of other words to go in from charitable tones.
Oh dear.
Another dearly. Sorry, Pat.
Oh dear. So great to hear from Pat, and keep up the great work at the Millwall Community Trust there, guys. Well done, Sean Daly. Right, people continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus, or as a consequence of suffering with it, as deaths and infections continue to rapidly rise, and many more remain hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to their families, friends, and those that take care of them.
Yeah, so next week we welcome back Bethany, Jeff and George to be hosted by Eamon. This week, our Gary Rowett, who celebrated a year of Millwall this week, disclosed that our chairman and John Berylson's backing had been critical in the transfer/loan window. And you can help the club out by coming along to the Beanback each week in the Millwall Executive Lounge for £50 plus VAT. Joining the Lions Loyalty Club, it costs £40 with benefits For £25, you could also be a crowdie. For £103.95, you can be a virtual mascot with benefits. And why not sponsor a player's kit for £570 with benefits? All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. And that's good night from me.
Don't forget to follow iFollow with Carl Bates and Max McClelland on Saturday. And remember, 100% of what you pay for the internet streaming service goes back to Millwall Football Club. What a good way to improve the revenue in these challenging times. And don't forget to watch out for Kai Bennett's Millwall Fan TV for pre-match and post-match analysis. Well worth a listen on Twitter and Facebook. And it's good night from me.
Right, there's player sponsorship for the Lionesses available for this season. Why not give them some added support? And you can find details on their website. Just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you will find them easily enough. We have led by example and sponsored their captain, Libby Stubbs, who came back into action this week. Keep it going, Libby. If you want live football from the Millwall brand, check out the Millwall Lionesses and Romans for fixtures at St Paul's, Rotherhithe on Sundays. And for now, that's good night from me, Ted.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep safe on the streets out there, which means isolating where necessary, social distancing, the rule of 6, a face mask where necessary, and any local restrictions under the 3-tier system. That's it from me. Thanks, James, Dave and Ted. Until next time, good night, everybody.